Right, welcome back to Shedtune, and I'm upside down. Or am I? No, I'm not. Right. Brakes. Let's talk about brakes. So I've taken the engine out of the black GP. This is the TS1, the fast one that we sprinted. The back brake on it has always been shocking. So when I heard that there's a new bit of kit coming out, I thought I'd better have a look. Clearly we have a painting professional. So I'll put in now all the promo and the hype so that we can see what it's all about. Sticky's Eccentric Brake Pin by Casa Performance, I think is the original title, or something like that. Anyway, here we go. When the kit arrived, which was sent to me free of charge, so thank you very much, I've got two things in it. First thing, set of instructions. If you don't read them, you're a mug. A tool, making sure the shoes line up, and then the actual pin kit itself. Now these we'll talk about first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the difference between these and standard GP pins. So I'm going to put a picture on the screen now of a standard GP pin. As you can see, it's dead straight. Whereas these pins, as you can see, are offset. And the idea is that you can rotate them to get the perfect setup for your brake shoe. Right, okay, I see. Oh, sorry, I was reading the instructions. Whee! Look at that, brakes, and it don't work. Why? Because the design isn't particularly great. Dive into what's in the kit. So we're talking about the pin kit first, the eccentric brake pins. So as you can see, 2 tab washers, main washers, spacers, pins, clip, and these really important bits. So these bits here are different thicknesses, and it allows you to put underneath here and space it up or down to get exactly how you need it to get the perfect brake shoe. The alignment tool itself looks pretty simple. Casa Performance alignment tool, washers, 2 little washers, a nut and a bolt. And we'll show you in a minute, once we've got to that bit, how it actually works. Lambretta obviously knew that there was an issue with the back brake on them, because they invented a tool to skim the shoes so that it would make contact with the hub properly and be able to stop you. I'll put a clip in now.
Okay, so taking off a load of material, which is now dust in there. Basically the shoe area should now meet with the hub. So we've just got to blow the dust off and then try a hub on it and see if the back brake works better.
The downside to the tool is you don't use them very often. Obviously, if you're not doing it on a regular basis, it's very expensive. So I guess this Casa Performance sticky tool is simple and cheap. So the first thing we've got to do is obviously get the hub off. For that, you will need a hub puller. If you haven't got one, then you'll struggle to get the hub off. We'll put that there. There's a lock washer on it as well, so we need to take that off. So that's exactly what we're going to do now. Okay, so we're going to loosen this lock nut. In fact, I'll tell you what we'll get first. We'll get a holding tool for this, which, for those of you who remember, is an old wheel rim with a bit of metal welded onto it. But it's not that way round, is it, Russ? No, it's not. There you go. It's this way round. There you go. That's that coming undone. There we go. And then that's a lock nut off. Over out of the way, then we've got to undo that. 27mm if memory serves me right. This it is. And we'll put the old impact gun on that. One of them. That can go away. A lot of clanging there. And then we're going to remove the hub. Don't lose the shim that comes off of it either. If you've never pulled a hub before, now that we've got all of this off, you can see that there's 3 holes. And your hub puller has 3 bolts, which will go into each of these holes, like so. Now it's a good idea to just take a little bit of slack out of the hub puller and get them lined up nicely with the threads. Okay, so that's all set up, ready to go, and we should, provide me, yeah, put the rattle gun on it. There we go. Quite a lot of force was needed for that, because when it's tightened up, it's a really high torque. Anyway, we can take the hub off now. So I'm just reading the instructions. When you're using the brake tool, you use it with the original cone that came off of it upside down. Okay, so I thought the next thing I'd try is putting the tool onto here and seeing what state my original brake shoes are in before we fit the new ones. But just before we do, I just thought I'd point out that this shoe setup, as you can see here, this is an LI, because you can tell by how thick this cam is. And what tends to happen with all shoes is when you brake, obviously the cam expands the shoes, it wears on this edge and this edge, and not that edge and not edge. So you're only getting that contact point and that contact point to stop you. And the whole point of these pins is that it will make sure the shoes contact all the way around. So it'll be interesting to see. Oh, and that's give you an idea, that's a GP cam next to a LI cam. The LI one's thicker. So the tool, dead easy to fit. The cone's got to be upside down, as we say. You put the tool on there, get your washers, put them onto there so it locates nicely. Put your hub nut on. And there you go. It doesn't even have to be done up really tight. Now, what I want to know is why my back brake don't work. So, okay, so it's high spot round here. Nothing round there. Nothing round there. Wow, so there's only one point in these brakes that touches the drum. No wonder it doesn't work. And that's here. So let's fit the new pins. See if we can get the drum working better. Okay, so let's get on with fitting this kit. So I've put these in loosely so you can twiddle them by hand. I've just gone down as far as I can and then come back a little bit so they're nice and loose. Brand new set of shoes. Remember, different shoes for LI and GP. We've got a spring, we've got to put that on. Put that on, put the spring on. Get the shoes into a rough position. Oops, a daisy. Okay, there you go. So there, in the rough position. Now obviously we can move them with a pair of pliers. We'll put the tool on and see what state, no we won't, because we've got to put that on first, upside down, don't forget. It's the easiest way I find of doing it. Use a flat-ended screwdriver, just opens it up a little bit, there you go. Put the tool on, put the washers on, and straight away we'll be able to see what condition we got. So let's have a look. So that's pretty good. I might have got it right first time. Wow. So there's no high spots at all. Oh, good night. Oh, well, that's easy. That's how you do it. Now, let's just play devil's advocate and maybe move some of these. Use my pliers for that. Okay. So let's get out of that. Twist it. We'll get out of that and twist that. So, as it says in the instructions. Yeah, see now what's happened there is the shoe has moved and you've got a bigger gap one side than you have the other. And then the same with this. So clearly, yeah, see that's got a massive high spot on this edge now. And a huge gap here. So that needs to twiddle around, and I think the idea is definitely to get the same gap all the way around. So looking at the gap there, the top one's not too bad. That's probably the right position for that one. But the bottom one, we've got to adjust. So let's adjust it, shall we? Okay, gone the wrong way, I think. That's about right there. So that, as you can see, would be where you want to clamp them up. So what I'm going to do now is, as per the instructions, is I'm going to find my phone, take a photograph of that so I know what's what, and then work out which shims I need to go underneath them. Okay, so I've taken a picture of where the tabs need to be, and I'm just trying to shim it so that we get this right. So I'll put a little bit too much under this one, so we'll do one at a time, and then we'll get it spot on. Okay, so we've got the first one done and shimmed like the photograph, so hopefully the next one will be easy. So I've just put that on so I can see exactly how it's supposed to be. Right, so the next one, I haven't put a shim under it just yet because I don't think it's far away. We'll put the shoe on just to see. So yeah, look at that. That's not far away. I might have to put a shim under it just to lift it up so when we nip it up that it's in the right place. Right, let's have a look, see what this does. Oh yeah, we are going to need to shim that. That's tight. So it's going to need to shim under it just to lift it up. Okay, so we've got a shim under that. And again, looking at the photo, we've got to tighten it down. Too big a shim. Right, let's try a smaller shim and see what happens. Let's get a smaller shim, put that back in, tighten it up. Oh, I don't think that's going to be far away, is it? So we'll tighten it up now. There you go, spot on. Right, so that's that all lined up, and as you can see from the photograph, ta-da! A little bit of messing about with the shims, but I only had to change it twice, once on there to get it right and once on there to get it right. So now, as you can see, all the way around, no problem at all. No high spots, and it looks pretty consistent all the way around. So in theory, that back brake will work. So that's everything back together. Right, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, give it a like, a subscribe, tell your mates, drop some comments below. If you fitted one of these kits, what's your thoughts? What's your reality? For me, having a back brake, safety critical. You want to have the best brakes you can have on a scooter, especially in modern day where they've all got kits. Value for money, it's a no-brainer in my opinion, but there you go, that's just my opinion. If you ain't got to mess around, fitting one, you can fit it in the scooter, I would guess, I don't know, worst case scenario, an hour, best case, half hour if it's straightforward. Anyway, as I say, that's my opinion. I think it's worthwhile doing. Go and get yourself one. Cheers. Oh, I'll put a link in the description for where you can get them if you want one.